Under the cool October sky, New York City has transformed into a river of people. From Times Square to Union Square, the sound of chants rolls through the avenues, defiant, rhythmic, and unmistakably political. Thousands march shoulder to shoulder, their signs lifted high above the crowds. No kings. It's not just a phrase, it's a cry of resistance. A reminder of the promise that America made to itself nearly 2.5 centuries ago, that no leader, no matter how powerful, should ever rule like a monarch. Today, that promise is being tested again. The protesters accuse President Donald Trump of what they call an authoritarian power grab. They say his latest executive orders have crossed a line stretching the limits of presidential authority. The White House insists it's about restoring order, but on the streets, few seem convinced. Across the city, the air hums with energy. Police sirens wail in the distance, drums pound to the rhythm of marching feet, and the words "No Kings" echo off the glass towers of Manhattan. Men and women of all ages move as one, teachers, artists, veterans, students and parents pushing strollers. It feels less like a protest and more like a reckoning. At the center of the crowd, a massive white banner spans the street. The words are simple, black and bold: "No Kings." It waves like a flag of defiance, rippling through the city's wind as chants grow louder. "This is what democracy looks like," they shout, the phrase rising and falling like a heartbeat. One protester, holding a cardboard sign scrawled with thick red paint, reads, "Silence equals fascism." She says she came because staying quiet feels like surrender. For her, this isn't just about Donald Trump, it's about the idea of America itself. "We're supposed to have a government of the people," she says, "not a crown over us." Everywhere you look, there's motion. Faces painted with slogans, flags fluttering from balconies, camera phones raised high. The movement has spread far beyond New York. From Washington, D.C. to Chicago, from Los Angeles to Seattle, millions have poured into the streets. Organizers call it one of the largest demonstrations since the president's return to power in 2025. The No Kings March began as a social media hashtag, but within days it evolved into a nationwide campaign, decentralized, leaderless, and powered by volunteers. Each city organized its own route, its own chants, its own voice, yet all share one message: no one man stands above the law. For many, this moment feels deeply personal. An older woman from Queens says she's been protesting since the 1960s, but this march feels different. "This time," she says quietly, "it's our own democracy on the line." Beside her, a college student waves a hand-painted flag that reads, "Truth is patriotism." He explains that his parents lost their jobs after new federal layoffs. "We can't survive on slogans," he says. "We need accountability." The diversity of faces tells its own story, young and old, liberal and conservative, religious and secular. They may disagree on policy, but they're united by one fear: that power, once consolidated, rarely lets go. Historians say the movement's name, No Kings, is no accident. It's a deliberate nod to the revolution that birthed the United States, a reminder that this country was founded on rebellion against monarchy. 2.5 centuries later, the same words are back on placards, carried not by soldiers, but by citizens. One historian, Dr. Eleanor Reeves, puts it simply: every democracy faces a test, whether power bends to law or law bends to power. Those words hang heavy in the air as chants of "Democracy Now" ripple through the streets.
Donald Trump has got to go. My son is Donald Trump has got to go. This is what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like.
Get loud for our democracy! Release.
The White House has dismissed the protests as theatrics. In a Truth Social post earlier this week, President Trump wrote, "The fake news is lying again. Real Americans love what we're doing. Strong leadership, not weakness." His supporters argue that his actions are necessary to stabilize a divided nation, but critics say that's precisely the problem. They see strength turning into supremacy. As the march reaches Lower Manhattan, the noise swells. Police line the sidewalks, keeping distance, directing traffic. So far, the demonstrations have remained peaceful, but the tension is palpable. For many here, peace feels fragile. They know how quickly chants can turn into clashes, yet the crowd holds its composure. Drums beat steadily, guiding the flow of marchers like a metronome of resistance. Handmade posters flutter in the autumn breeze. We the People, Liberty Can't Breathe, Democracy Not Dynasty. A group of young veterans march near the front wearing camouflage jackets stitched with patches reading Oath to the Constitution. One of them speaks into a megaphone, "I fought for a republic, not a monarchy." The crowd roars in approval. For these protesters, this isn't simply a political disagreement, it's a moral stand. They believe that power, left unchecked, threatens not just institutions, but identity, the very idea of what it means to be American. Journalists covering the event describe the scene as part protest, part pilgrimage. Some compare it to the civil rights marches of the 1960s. It's emotional, raw, and unfiltered, a population venting years of frustration in one collective breath. And yet, amid the chaos, there's hope. Hope that democracy is not defined by politicians, but by people willing to defend it. Hope that dissent, even in anger, is proof that freedom is still alive. As night begins to fall, the city's skyline glows with thousands of tiny lights. Protesters light candles, forming a slow-moving river of flickering orange that winds through the streets. They hold them high, chanting softly, "No kings, no fear." From above, it looks like a constellation of conviction, scattered lights merging into one powerful message. By now, most major roads in Midtown have been closed. Subway entrances overflow with people still arriving to join the crowd. Organisers estimate more than 1 million participants nationwide, teachers, nurses, veterans, tech workers, delivery drivers, all demanding the same thing, restraint of power. Reporters on the ground note how coordinated yet spontaneous the march feels. Each block carries a different rhythm, one group singing protest songs from the 1970s, another reciting lines from the Declaration of Independence. The atmosphere shifts between anger and celebration, defiance and unity. Some protesters hand out pocket-sized copies of the US Constitution. Others distribute flyers quoting the Founding Fathers. The symbolism is deliberate, a reminder that the No Kings message is not about one man, but about the enduring balance between authority and accountability. In a nearby park, speakers take turns addressing the crowd. One activist shouts into a microphone, "Democracy doesn't die overnight. It dies in silence." The words draw thunderous applause.
Donald Trump has got to go. My son is bleeding. Donald Trump has got to go. This is what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like.
Get loud for our democracy! Release.
Moments later, a gospel choir begins singing, "This land is your land." The entire park joins in, their voices echoing off the stone facades of surrounding buildings. For a brief moment, the tension melts into something else, pride maybe, or faith. Meanwhile, political analysts warn that the protests could mark a turning point. Some believe they might shape the coming midterm elections. Others say they signal a deeper shift, a public no longer willing to accept politics as theatre. In Congress, opposition lawmakers are calling for hearings into what they describe as executive overreach. Senator Maria Cortez of New York tells reporters, "What we saw today is democracy speaking loudly." The question is, will those in power listen? Back on the streets, the march continues late into the night. Children wave miniature flags. Street musicians play violins over the chants. Food vendors serve coffee to exhausted protesters. The city that never sleeps feels more alive than ever. Above the crowd, drones capture sweeping aerial shots, a living mosaic of dissent stretching for miles. It's peaceful but powerful, loud but disciplined, angry but hopeful. For many, it's a reminder that protest itself is an American tradition. As sacred as the vote, as essential as free speech. The act of marching is both an expression and a defense of liberty. By midnight, the chants begin to fade. The crowd disperses slowly, leaving behind paper signs, wax drippings from candles, and echoes bouncing between skyscrapers. The cleanup crews move in. Police report no major incidents. Organisers call the day a success, but everyone knows this story isn't over. Tomorrow, debates will resume on television. Politicians will issue statements, polls will fluctuate, and social media will divide into its usual camps. But for one night on these streets, democracy felt tangible, noisy, messy, and alive. As the last group of marchers drifts away, a single banner catches the wind and flutters down onto the empty asphalt. Its message, simple and direct, lies illuminated by the streetlights, "No Kings." It's more than a slogan now. It's a promise whispered from the past into the present, from citizens to leaders, that the nation's crown must always rest with its people, not upon any one man's head. And as the city grows quiet again, one thought remains. Democracy doesn't depend on silence. It depends on voices, millions of them, rising together to remind those in power that America has no kings.
This is what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like.
Get loud for our democracy! Release!
Whose streets? Our streets. Whose streets? Our streets.